Hello, good morning, and welcome to HealYourself Therapies. This week we are talking about meditation. We're talking about the month of October, this month that we've just come into, and we're talking about surrendering yourself to a higher power. I'll see you in the next part. So let's start to talk about this month. Okay, we'll get the worst over first. This month is a very special month. This month is a month, and all the messages that are here are that this month is going to be a toughie. It's going to be tough. We're in the Third World War. It's a spiritual war. It's a war of good against evil. And trust me that the evil is pulling out all of the stops at the moment, and so is the good, right? I mean, it's equal, but the evil is pulling out all of the stops. It's going to try and do everything in its power to harvest as many souls as it can. Okay, I mean, just to put it in like that kind of idea, but basically they're going to do lots and lots and lots of stuff. Okay, there are lots of us that are starting to be moving into another lockdown. Okay, fear porn wherever you look, and now they've moved from deaths because they just can't get them. Too many people died before, and there isn't enough people to die this time, and so that's my opinion anyway. So they're talking about cases now, and everything's a case, isn't it? Infected people. The fact that, to use stats that aren't my stats, 99.6 or 7% of us are going to survive and maybe not even have any symptoms. Doesn't matter, because we're using the word infected, and infected is a hot word for us. It's a hot word. They're using the word infected, okay? And those asymptomatic infected people. So, and also what they're also doing as well, which is a new one, I'm noticing this, remember that their system is to blame us. Everything is about our fault. Everything is our fault. You must understand this. When you hear people talk about the state of the world, it's always our fault. Okay? When the fact that virus spread is our fault. I've heard people talk about it. Well, it's just the way the world is now. What do we expect when we travel around so much? What an absolute load of crap. We've been traveling around. When I was 7 or 8, I went to Italy to ski. Okay, there was a busload of us. The whole 1 year of the school went to Italy to ski. We've been traveling for a long time. That excuse is rubbish. Is absolute rubbish. But it's great because it gives us the blame. Okay? It blames us. It's our fault for wanting to travel so much. How bad, how disgusting that we want to travel and see other people. I mean, the very fact that everybody who I know who has spent time in other countries tends not to be in the slightest bit racist. In fact, racism seems to disappear as soon as you spend time living in another culture. This is something I've found. Okay? So, traveling is a very positive thing, but it's our fault. In fact, everything's our fault. Okay? Everything's our fault. And it's always the way that they use that, because they create a problem and then they blame us for the problem. Now, this is a pattern. It's called problem, reaction, solution. Okay, they create the problem, they blame us for it, and we say, oh my goodness, somebody's going to have to take control of this. We are not capable of controlling our own selves. And they say, well, hey, we'll give you the solution, which is more control. All right. So what they're doing is they're blaming the youth now. The youth are getting blamed, and I think it's such a shame. It's so horrifically horrible. Okay, that they're saying, yeah, we're here in Spain, in the UK. Yeah, well, the young people that don't care, they're going around without masks. They're going into mass raves all the time. I mean, that's all young people do now, is going to raves. Since COVID, young people get together in massive groups and start hugging and kissing one another. It's just what young people do now, apparently. They don't do anything else. Yeah, nothing else. And that's absolute rubbish. And it's horrible that they're blaming young people. And they're saying the young people are killing the old people. And this is just awful. However, it's where we are, okay? So I've heard some dates for October, specifically between the 10th and the 25th. These are very, very crucial times, or the 11th and the 25th. It's time for us just to batten down the hatches, hunker down, keep your head down, just hibernate, right, during this month. Let them, this is our battle too, but there are bigger players in this battle. Let them play it out, okay? Our job is, we're going to come to that, our job is to provide more energy to this, to provide more positive energy, okay? So, let's move on to how we do that with meditation. I've talked about meditation, and from the comments, thank you very much for the comments, I can see that just about everybody's on board. If not, no, every comment has been on board with the meditation. But we had a question from Peter, which was, giving me some tips on how to meditate, right? So I'm going to give you the tips that I have kind of come up with. I am not a dyed-in-the-wool meditator. I haven't been meditating for a long time. I've done hypnosis for ages, for like 35 years I've been doing hypnosis. There isn't a lot of difference between the two, but meditation is different. It is different, okay? Because in hypnosis, what you're doing typically is you're giving yourself positive suggestions and stuff like that. It's a bit more formal, where meditation isn't. Meditation's a lot more relaxed and groovy. It's never been easier to meditate. We have never been in a time where meditation has been so easy. What do I mean by that? The energy of this world has changed. It is being ramped up. It's being turned up at a speed that we've never seen before. Okay? At least for the last 13,000 years anyway. This cycle that we do around the horoscope. So we are being flooded with this energy. What that means is that it's very easy for us to reach those higher levels of communion. All right, and my story is this: we meditate so that they can reach us, and they can download into us what we need to be downloaded. Okay, that's at the moment. I believe that is what our meditation is about. This is a message that I've had from the emissaries that keep saying, tell people to meditate so that we can reach them. We want to reach them. When they reach us, they download. And you get the next download for the next movement toward the golden age, toward enlightenment, toward an increase in your energy. How you do it is this. I would suggest when you start off meditating, don't try and do mammoth meditation sessions. Just stick to 10 to 15 minutes. That's all you need. You know why that's all you need? One is that's the time that they need to get stuff to you. But also, we live such frantic lives, right? We have mobiles now, and the mobile doesn't allow us to have any downtime in our mind. Okay, so either we've got television going on, we've got something happening in our lives, we're working, and when we have a moment, we are with our mobile, and this is very typical. Okay, and I speak for myself as well. So we are in a constant state of mind chatter. We're in a constant state of mind stimulation. That's no good for meditation. So when you meditate, everything has to go off. Everything has to go off. You find a nice place and you sit with your eyes closed in a very comfortable place. Try your best not to cross any limbs. Try and keep your hands and your legs separate, okay? For lots energetically, and also because it's uncomfortable after a while. You sit and close your eyes, and all you do is focus on your breathing. I would recommend that you breathe through your nose, but it doesn't really matter. If you breathe through your mouth, after a while it dries up. So breathe through your nose. And the best way of doing it is focus on your breathing, and then just spend your time relaxing your body from the top down. Just go relax my head, relax my face, relax my neck, relax my chest. Just work your way down. Okay? Now that's going to put you in an alpha state, right, of brain cognition. That's all that you need. Now what's going to happen is that once you've kind of relaxed yourself, you're going to find that your mind is going to wander all over the place. There's nothing wrong with that. Minds wander. Sometimes minds give us things and thoughts that we think, if that got out, I'd be in prison. All right, it doesn't matter. Our minds randomly give us stuff. It's just what they do. It doesn't say anything about us. The thoughts that come into our mind are not saying anything about us, these random thoughts, okay? So you just let them happen. And what you'll find is that you will be thinking about the thought. This is important. When you catch yourself thinking about the thought, not having the thought comes in. When you start considering it, that's when you catch yourself and you go, oh, right, I'm thinking about it. I'll go back to my breathing again. And you just focus on your breathing. Focus on the air coming in and going out. That's all you do. So you keep bringing yourself back to the breath. That's all. Stuff's going to happen. Weird stuff is going to happen. Right? Weird thoughts are going to come. Doesn't matter. Okay? And you just sit and keep going back to your breathing and breathing and breathing. And it's in those moments, in those gap moments in between the thoughts that are coming through your mind and your breathing, that inspiration comes, that messages come, that they get to you and they tell you stuff, right? And how do you know that they're telling you stuff? Because it's a moment of inspiration. It's the light bulb moment that come and you go, oh, right, now I understand. Oh, yeah, I think so. That's what you've got to allow to happen. It mightn't happen straight away. For me, it did the very first time. But it just depends. It just depends. What you want to do is practice it. If you've got a very busy mind, I've got a very different mind to other people. My mind, I can be calm, but some people are very kind of, whoa. So, they need to get a bit more practice. The idea is your eyes closed, you're focusing on your breathing, you're letting the thoughts go through, and this is what I want you to imagine. Imagine that you are sitting on a bench in the park. You are sitting on the bench in the park and your thoughts are walking by, sometimes running by, sometimes stopping and screaming, but your thoughts are going by. That is your position. You are not standing up and dancing with your thoughts. What you are doing is watching your thoughts going by, okay? You don't have to comment on them, you just have to observe them. And then when you catch yourself standing up and starting to do the waltz with your thoughts, you sit back down and you focus on your breathing. That's all that you have to do. It's much better to do 10 to 15 minutes a day than it is to do 2 hours once a week. Right? Don't try and do mammoth stuff. Right? All we want is to calm ourselves down so they can get through to us. All right? So there you are. I hope that helps. Give it a go. Meditation is the best. Every time that I meditate, when I finish meditating, I notice one very powerful thing. I notice that I'm in a better mood, that I laugh more easily, that I want to make jokes, and that life is just brighter. Life is nicer. That's what we want. Okay? Now, last point, surrender. I can't begin to tell you how many different messages that I have had, how many different conversations I've had on surrendering. Okay? And the reason that this is coming up is that this is where we need to go. This is what we need to do. It's time to surrender. Now, the word surrender has a very negative connotation because it's like a white flag, giving yourself up, saying, I've lost. I surrender. This is not the surrender that I'm talking about. I'm talking about an empowerment, a surrendering of yourself to the higher power. Why should we surrender? We are just mere mortals, right? We know that we have a purpose here on this earth. We know that we've come here to do things. We know, okay? And some people know very well. Reading the comments, some people are very aware of what they have come to do. The issue that we have is that we have all been brought up to be fixers. We are fixers. We are mechanics. We have our toolbox and we say, "What I've got to do this. Right? What have I got to do to make this happen?" Yeah. And especially those of us who were born as administrators of the universe. Okay, administrators of the universe think that they have to fix everything, and that they have to take control. So if you resonate with that, if you are a control person, if you like to control stuff and make stuff happen, and you're a mover, you're a shaker, you make stuff happen, this is especially for you. What we think that we know is that compared to what the universe knows about us. What the universe knows about our purpose, about why we are here, what the universe knows about what needs to be done in the grand scheme of things, is something that we could never ever dream to get in touch with. Okay, we see everything subjectively. We see it through our own eyes. We see it through our own filters. So we are not really very good at coming up with a universal plan. Okay, but the universe is, because it's the universe. And so it can come up with a universal plan. I'm using the word universe, fill in the gap. God, Allah, whoever you want. They know better than we do. And so what happens is we reject surrendering ourselves to it because of fear. We become frightened because we think, and I'm saying this we because I have gone through this process, okay? Let me tell you what happened to me. I got the message, you need to surrender yourself, your path to the higher power. And I was saying, woohoo, no. Because I know what I want to do. I know I'm here to help. But if I surrender myself, maybe the higher power will make me do something that will cause me a problem. Maybe the higher power will make me do something that will cause my family a problem. Maybe the higher power will change my life so dramatically that I lose everything that I've got. Maybe the higher... Right, okay, so this was my thought process. I was frightened because I want to control it. And if I can't control it, then, ooh. And what I realized, and it was through help of other messages that came through, is that the universe, God, whoever you want to call it, the higher power, will never, ever give you more than you can handle. What would be the point of that? What would be the point of the universe putting you in a situation in which you couldn't cope? That would defeat the entire object of what it's all about. And so what you need to understand is that the universe will only give you what you can handle. And in my experience and what I've seen with other people who have surrendered to it, is that life just gets better. That's all. Yes, there are some slight deviations, because when you know what your purpose is, you're pretty spot on. But there are some things that need to be done that the universe wants you to do, and so it will guide you gently. And there's always a choice. But if you follow the messages and the intuition and the gut feel, then you will be guided. But in my experience, my life improved so much more when I surrendered. And I said, what is surrender, by the way? The surrender is a very, very simplistic thing. And it isn't a one-time thing. The surrender is to go into a state of meditation, go into a state of prayer, and you say, I surrender myself to you, the higher power. I surrender my life to you because you know better than I. Okay? I give myself up to you. And these are for me, these are the key words. Your will, not mine. Your will, not mine. And that extrapolates into the Lord's Prayer of your will here on earth just as it is in heaven. Okay? But it's this message of you know better than me, you guide me, I trust you. Why wouldn't we trust the higher power? Why wouldn't we trust that the higher power knows more than we do, and knows better, and knows how to even improve our life? And so that's what I believe we need to do, because once you surrender, then suddenly the doors of perception open. Because when you haven't surrendered, you were controlling everything. Oh, I'm going to do this, I'm not going to do that. Oh, I can't do that because that might come. When you say I surrender, suddenly everything's open. And your mind is saying, right, I'm waiting now for guidance. I am waiting for inspiration. I'm waiting for the message. And it comes. And it comes frequently. And very frequently it comes during meditation. So, give it a try. If you feel that you were hanging on and you were trying to control things that really aren't your business, why don't you try surrendering? I surrender repeatedly, like on a weekly basis, if not more. I just repeat those words just to keep it fresh, to keep my mind open, and to keep my focus on the fact that I'm being guided, that I'm not having to do the work. It's such a relief. It's the biggest relief, especially if you're a control freak. Surrendering yourself to the higher power is the biggest relief ever. It's like, oh, thank goodness, I don't have to control this anymore. And it's beautiful. And beautiful things happen. All right, so I'll leave that with you. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next week. Take care.